Welcome everyone, Simon here from the Wales of Wall Street. Today's quick video here on Ripple, XRP and FLR, that is FLR. Before we do that, do check out our other videos on the channel. Loads of different topics and discussions. If there's an asset that we don't cover and you want us to, do let us know in the comments below. But for sure, we'll have a few more of the YouTube shorts tomorrow whilst I'm at work. But in the meantime, let's chuck straight into this. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. But let's go into the topic. Guys, FLR. In a second, we'll discuss the price point of that one. It's gone absolutely bonkers last 48 hours in a downward turn. We'll go through that in a second. But let's first of all touch on this point. Ripple, part of a webinar on the 26th of January from the Digital Pound Foundation. Obviously, you guys would know that in the previous and recent videos that we have been covering, talking about the CBDC projects in particular, and of course that is very heavily related to the UK's version of a CBDC, i.e. the digital pound. So the topic for this webinar, what is a digital pound really useful for? Ripple being one of the keynote speakers, James Wallace in particular from Ripple speaking at that particular event. So do register for that. It's definitely worth listening into, I think, from an investor's perspective, but also having a general interest in this area. As I mentioned in previous videos as well, that I do generally believe the CBDC conversation would be what creates the hysteria for the next massive bull cycle. We've had NFTs, etc. in the past, and metaverse. I think this is the biggest next thing, and it really does relate and resonate as well with the topics that we've covered before in relation to November 2025, the new RTGS system, the new standardization of financial messaging with the ISO 20022 compliance and standardizations. It's all coming together. So keep an eye out for that. Other than that, there's no sort of major Ripple XRP news, other than the fact that the SEC is still massively suppressing XRP ridiculously. But again, also so many YouTube channels keep trying to predict when it's going to finish. It's happening tomorrow, it's happening next week. Honestly, just do yourselves a favor, save your lives, save your time, and don't bother listening to any of that. You'll know when Ripple announce it officially, when the SEC announce it officially, or maybe just before it, when someone gets out of the courtroom, runs to the doors hysterically and shouts out to the world what's going on. But until then, let's just keep calm, relax. But we'll touch on actually the price point of XRP in a second as well, because I think it's doing really well considering all of this nonsense. And finally, before we go into the price points of each of those, the FLR token has its next distribution. So that was January 9th, i.e. today. And it's very much making some great interesting moves in the market, which we'll go into in a second. There's instructions here, particularly here on ledger.com, on how you get hold of these tokens, or indeed add them to your Ledger account. Do bear in mind though that you've had to have been in the snapshot from December 12th, 2020. I can remember this as if it was yesterday. I can't believe it was like 2 years ago now. Can you believe that? December 12th, 2020. I can't believe that. That is mental. So also the fact that you needed the ETH address before June 11th, 2021 to make sure that you get the distribution or allocation of those FLR tokens. So there's also some information on here of a following guide which takes you to this one of how to get that added to your account and what you need to look out for, etc. Songbird, we should probably do a video on SGB actually as well. We'll go into that in a different one, but yeah, for sure there's some good updates from them in the last couple of weeks that we'll do a video on. But yeah, that's very much around FLR, what's going on with them, and XRP Ripple. Like I said, keeping it short and sweet. Got a few other videos to do and prepare some research for the YouTube shorts tomorrow. Let's go into the charts of both XRP and FLR. I think it's also a good point to mention, as I said earlier, the fact that XRP has very much been doing really well considering the suppression that it has had from the SEC. So let's talk about that first of all before we go into more detail of this FLR one. So here we go, XRP floating around at 34.9 cents, pretty much 35 cents to be honest. We have seen some good moves with XRP over the last couple of months, particularly here between September and November last year. respectively, where we saw that massive jump up to around about 55-56 cents, which is brilliant to see. We've now had the conclusion of that uptake and the profit taking, and now we're coming back to that traditional trend line that it's supposed to be sort of aiming for. Since really, not necessarily, I wouldn't call it like the demise, the whole market's been doing it, but certainly since those points of high points in 2021, coming down to these lower regions where we see perhaps the bottom areas of XRP and where we might see some hits. If you remember in the XRP video that we did last time, we drew in this orange horizontal line as a good momentum of trend from historic data. So if you go all the way back here, even 2018, 2019, all the way through, you can see some really significant resistance and support lines or activity lines where we've seen the candles go in and out of these areas. Now, with the exception of 2021, most of 2021 anyway, where we saw this humongous black hole, which we always knew that it would come down at some point anyway, you can see the reflected points. So back here 2020, we saw some good reactions here in 2021 as well, and more recently in the middle stages of 2022 up until this point today. So you can see the pattern is very observant here in relation to some good DCA opportunities at these areas, really matching back to say that actually at the moment we are getting a relatively small amount of support at this area. It rejected a couple of times back here in June and July last year in 2022, and slightly dipped down in August, September respectively in 2022 as well, and the touch point here in November more recently. So we had the drop down here on the 2nd of January, taking it down to 30 cents, a good grab opportunity there. For those that didn't get that, don't worry too much, because we're very much matching around areas that we've seen many times before. I think with the suppression via the SEC, we're not going to see humongous fluctuations of XRP or any significant moves, in my opinion. Certainly not in a long sort of term aspect of, you know, maybe hitting towards these crazy price points that we got to previously at nearly the $2 mark. So if you think about it in that aspect, in fact, what I'm going to do just very quickly is just drop down that price point that we saw at the top there, and bring it back down to where we are right now, to give you a bit of an indication of how much movement we've got in the tank just from this price point alone to where it was before. So it's dropped 83% from that top momentum point to where we are now. If you took in consideration the real low point back here in June 22, that was a good 85%. So a lot of people suggest that between sort of 75-85% is very realistic for a bear cycle. Winter market is still in conversation here. Have we hit the massive bottom yet? I'm not entirely sure. I don't think we have personally. I think we're going to need to see Bitcoin come down a lot more to really swing that around. But right now, this gives us good DCA opportunity to grab XRP at a really good price point compared to where it will be in the future. And you see just what we showed you just a minute ago, that $2 mark. Well, there's obviously a big significant jump between now and then, as it is just for that move, let alone where it's going to go beyond the $2 mark in the future as well. So performance-wise, 3% and 12% up on the weekly and the 6-month performance indicators here on the right-hand side, respectively. Still showing relatively significant negative on the 3-month and particularly on the year. But that 1 month is coming down slowly but surely to a minus 10%. So it's looking really strong, as I said, with XRP, considering its situation. The RSI is right now 47 on 14-day, 45 on the 20-day. For me, I'm not going to just budge in some extra buys just yet. I'm going to see if we have a bit of a fluctuation downwards once again. But you can see the last few days, if I just scroll along here as those numbers change, it does literally go in and out of those positions. So I do anticipate this to come back down to that sort of 45 to 40 mark on the 14-day and perhaps near the 40 mark on the 20-day as well. And that would be good buy points for me personally. I did, however, on the 2nd of January manage to obtain some buy orders at the 30 odd cent mark, which was quite good to see. I think I have mine at 30.3 or something. And I think on this particular day, literally bang on the nose, 30 cents. So that was good play there. But again, it matches up very similarly to the points we made before, and some very good areas of opportunity for allocation, accumulation, of the XRP token. So very much a neutral perspective here, as you can see on the technical bar chart here. on the right hand side. So it's just very much indicating it doesn't really know what it's going to do itself. So keep an eye out for that one. As I said, if you're new to XRP or it's something you're looking to add, this is not financial advice, but for me personally, I haven't been buying around these natural areas as we see some stability. So let's keep an eye on for that, and let's finally look at FLR. This is crazy. Look at this. So the distribution that we saw or about to see, people have been selling off within the last 48 hours, which is a bit of a weird move to see. So it actually started off arguably here on the 7th and 8th of January a couple of days ago, and it dropped a significant 70% today, the 9th of January as of recording. It's now obtained itself back up slightly, and you can still see the downward trend is occurring. So this is now floating around 25 cents. Now I'm bringing this point to your attention because this is obviously very much around 50% of what it was 2 days ago. And we look at it historically, that we're actually hitting some good price points that we haven't seen since May and June last year. So a good 5-6 months ago. So if there's an opportunity really for those that missed out on FLR and perhaps thought, oh, it's gone up to like 70 cents now. We've seen that traction downwards. First of all, back here on one point, it flowed back up and I thought, wow, FLR's going to go up on another big run. And look at that, big massive drop down. It's given everyone another opportunity at these, well, I wouldn't call it massive support lines just yet, but certainly it's reflected off that point that we saw back here in May, and it's pretty much rejected it within that 24-hour period quite quickly. And now we're opening up the next market day, albeit that it's still the 9th of January here in the UK as recording. Time-wise, it's probably opened up in America or other places around the world, and it's now taking itself up slowly but surely, but albeit that we just need to keep an eye on this now because we're hitting these lower regions of the fib retracement chart. And in fact, if I pull it all the way back down to the original price points back here, you can see that it's now trying to fluctuate around these two fib levels, both at 30 cents and 22 cents. So keep an eye on it because it's right in the middle. The RSIs are showing 24 on 14 day and 34 on the 20 day. This is a fantastic DCA opportunity in my opinion. Not suggesting that this has hit the ultimate bottom. It may swing back around, who knows, but for sure people are taking advantage of these distributions, or indeed maybe thinking ahead before things collapse. And especially if you live on the other side of the world and you're not up and you're asleep, you may put limit orders and things. The books are obviously there for people to see these kind of sell and buy orders, and maybe just maybe triggered an automatic market maker, who knows. But these things happen in crypto. But I just thought I'd bring this to your attention if you're looking at FLR to add it to your account for the first time, or it's something that you're interested in trading. It certainly hit some really palpable drops over the last 48 hours. So keep that in mind. Let's review this in a few days' time, see what the reaction of the whole situation was. FLR is a really interesting project and part of the system throughout the likes of Ripple, etc. That's why I'm attaching it to this video. It's got a bright future. I'm holding FLR myself and have had airdrops in the past, including this one, and it's for sure something I'm holding massively long term because I do think this is going to have a massive opportunity for interoperability. I know there's a lot of projects out there that use those kind of buzzwords and those things, but I love its interaction with existing ecosystem projects that it works with or works under. So it's got a huge future in my opinion. Let us know in the comments below what you think about that. What do you think about this FLR drop in the last 24 hours? Are you taking advantage of the airdrop as well? Let us know. We'll catch up with XRP in the coming days. Got loads more videos to do. Thanks for watching this one, guys. We'll catch you in the next one. Take care and bye bye.